आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ। एक नई दुनिया की आवाज़ आपकी आवाज़, विज्ञान की आवाज़, की आवाज़।
Celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we bring you a podcast series on STEM popularization, science, technology, engineering, mathematics and medicine, supported and catalyzed by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, Government of India. This program is produced by Media for Community Foundation. Creative content and technical support is given by Purvasha Banerjee and Shushanto Das.
एक नई दुनिया की आवाज़ आपकी आवाज़, विज्ञान की आवाज़, की आवाज़, की आवाज़।
Vigyan Ki Awaaz podcast series aims to popularize new ideas of science and technology, which highlight STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. This brings to the surface the efforts and researches of Indian scientists, which is desired to bring a change in community learning and teaching, access to knowledge of resources, and social paradigms. Our goal is to spread the name of indigenous Indian research stories and their masters among the masses of society in a very easy manner. Bose Institute was set up in 1917 by Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose, the founder of modern science in the Indian subcontinent. It is Asia's first modern research center devoted to interdisciplinary research and bears a century-old tradition. The institute was founded as not merely a laboratory but a temple, with its principal aims being the advancement of science and diffusion of knowledge. Swami Vivekananda, Sister Nivedita, whose influence is reflected in the institute's emblem of Vajra, was significant in the setting up of the institute, and Rabindranath Tagore were among those who had consistently inspired and supported Jagadish Chandra Bose in his endeavors. Ever since the establishment of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India in May 1971, Bose Institute has been an autonomous grant-in-aid institution of DST. Over the last century, the institute has endlessly strived to preserve the legacy of its illustrious founder. In this podcast, we are happy to present Dr. Debraj Mukherjee from the Department of Chemical Sciences in Bose Institute. But before going into more details about his research work, let us hear from his own voice about his academic journey.
Myself, Debraj Mukherjee. I am working in the field of Department of Chemical Sciences at Bose Institute for the last 1 year. Before that, I worked almost like 17 years in another government institute, that is Indian Institute of Integrative Medicine under Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. And I did my PhD before that from again another CSR institute, IICB Kolkata, and I did a brief postdoctoral work with Professor David Craich at Wayne State University, US. I joined CSR lab, and from there now it is a journey of like 17 years I work in the field of mainly medicinal chemistry.
Dr. Debraj Mukherjee talks about in detail about his present area of research. He also tells us about the application and challenges in the field and also about India's position in the quest for knowledge.
So one of the major emphasis we are giving or focusing is non-infringing route for the synthesis of active pharmaceutical ingredients, API we call it in short. So what happens is that when we go for a therapeutics, basically allopathy drug, we need to have some organic molecule which will be used for that particular therapeutic point of view. Say for example, paracetamol, very simple. We use it for our inflammation and other things. So that paracetamol itself is an organic molecules which contains some organic structure. So that structure itself called APIs, and rest are formulations and other thing like you have to do it. If you want to take it in orally, then you require some of excipients like how to make the tablet, then how it will be released and how it will be finally excreted from our body. So we are only focusing on the organic part of it. So the molecular synthetic part. So why so? Because India as a organic chemistry, it is one of the world leaders in organic synthesis. We have produced a lot of greatest good organic synthetic chemists, and we are all trained in organic synthesis. Now the thing is that this APIs, we call it active pharmaceutical ingredients, basically it first launched in US FDA market. Now once this launch, there is some kind of patent which comes. There are several patents like the product patent, then the active API patent, then the process patent. Process means again several process. Means it can be synthesis of the molecule itself. This is the most important part. Where is the innovation comes. Rest a little bit routine, but still it needs to be done like formulation, polymorphs means how to make the crystals. These are different area pharmaceutical industries are continuously working on. Now thing is that these drugs, once it is launched in the US market, becomes highly expensive because it is done in a way in those using raw materials over there. If you want to export and do it to the Indian patients, it is extremely difficult. For example, I will take my own case, which I have talked about, is say for example SGLT2 inhibitors like dapagliflozin. What happens initially, metformin came as a diabetic drug. Routinely we get it over the counter, but there are a lot of problems like it is not going to cure entirely. So it is lifestyle disorder. There is some kind of fluctuation in the sugar level. So then it came DPP4, different target. So in different target, these molecules are working for the same disease, diabetes, type 2 diabetes we call it. So we call it DPP4. So sitagliptin, this type of derivatives again came, and these are also launched in the US market first. And then finally, we come out with a new drug that is SGLT2 inhibitors. What happens is that it protects it, and it is basically protecting reabsorption of sugar molecule in the kidney. So it goes down through urine. So there were little bit side effects, which is a different issue, like it gives urinary tract infection or something like that initially. But it is having lot of good effects, like along with diabetes, it can be given to hypertension patients also. Those who are suffering from hypertension or heart disease, it helps. Now the problem, when it first launched, it was impossible because if you see the dollar price, it was like unlikely that we can give it to Indian patients. So we are doing with insulin injection first if it is acute, otherwise all other simple medicines. We were unable to give it to the Indian patients due to the cost. Now here comes our expertise in organic synthesis. Now if we see the synthesis, API synthesis of dapagliflozin, there must be several patents on that. And all the pharmaceutical companies are protecting that patent and making it evergreening. Evergreening means a patent, say for example, it is going to expire in 2017. Before that, they will do some formulation or some other way and they will extend the patent. So this way it remains with them, so that they want to protect the product with them, and you cannot make the generic version. So one way of avoiding is to get your own methods of synthesizing those APIs. And how you can achieve it? Because since the methodology is completely has to be new, and there must be thousands of reports in the literature already existing for that drug, you require 1001, and that too using affordable route is a challenge. So now, as an organic synthetic chemist, we develop methodologies to have different reactions on our own way through our own method. So we devote our lifetime to get lot of methodology, new process for synthesizing some of the bonds, some of the things. In fact, last 5 years, if you see the Nobel Prize, it is going only on the some certain methods like CC bond formation only. So these are maybe not having a direct application in pharmaceutical industry or mankind, but this is having an immense importance because in a way you can using those methods in getting those drugs synthesized. So we as a organic chemist publish a lot. We write book chapters and other thing on different methods, and we take those methods only invented in our lab. There you can compete with the other pharmaceutical companies or other globally, because once you have your own method, own protocol, if you can utilize it and get the drug in a different way, then you can finally take another patent. Once you can conserve your IP, like US patent or Indian patent you take, or European Union patent you can take, and now if you can have the patent and if it is published, now you can out-license that method to your Indian different generic drug companies. So you have to do a pilot case synthesis from lab level to pilot level, you have to show them, and then they will take it forward for API synthesis. This way, if you see a drug, simple paracetamol, I am giving you an example, if you go to US over-the-counter price, and if you go back to Indian market, it is much, much lower. And that is all due to synthetic organic chemist has a huge role in training and getting those molecules and derivatives. So India is now in world leaders, like 60,000 generic drug Indian companies, pharmaceutics, CSR basically, DST, they are actually training those students, those who are working in pharmaceutical industry, heading those divisions and able to launch those generic drug for Indian population, South Africa, India, Bangladesh. So all countries is getting benefited. So this is overall. So I have taken one example like dapagliflozin myself as when I was working way back in 2016, first launch. So once, which now selection, which API, there are thousands of diseases, thousands of molecules, which one you will select based on your own expertise. Like I am an trained expert in carbohydrate and nucleoside chemistry. So I will only figure out and target those molecules which is of my expertise, where I can utilize my methodology. So based on that, I have taken, say, dapagliflozin. This is a C-glycoside. Before that, at least I think more than 200 papers I published in C-glycosylation. That's why I have the strength to take that molecule as an API. Otherwise, I cannot compete with the pharmaceutical companies even. Similarly, molnupiravir, it is a nucleoside molecules. When we first this COVID drug came, we were instructed that we have to do it immediately from raw materials. Believe me, there was no method we can purchase it from China, any raw material. So whatever available in our lab, we were having a ribose sugar. I start synthesizing in our own way and to get the molecules. And we are successfully, that strength of organic chemistry is such that we were able to successfully get a new method for that, which is non-enzymatic, because the lab which generally invented this molecule, molnupiravir for oral active, that is in Massachusetts. And they used complete enzymatic routes. And this enzyme had cocktail of enzymes, which are highly expensive. And you cannot get it in Indian market to get all the enzymes. So we used our own raw material, own routes, and in a very short and brief way. And now we calculated the per kg cost of that API. Once we have able to done it, so all raw materials were available in the Indian market. You have to make sure that it should be novel as well as it should be cost effective. And we were able to do it, and then the know-how we sell it to Netco and other companies who then take it forward. Now, as I've said, this is the development. Another one is the discovery part. Say, for example, now the molecule is showing some kind of teratogenicity or mutagenicity. Now on medicinal chemistry programs, like we were now working on some of the issues which is facing by molnupiravir. We are lipidating it with something, and we are getting rid of those side products. Similarly, once we have the API synthetic routes, then we can use our medicinal chemistry to address some kind of resistance or other kind of issues that molecule, that side effect. That is a separate another area where that is a discovery component. So this is, I think I have explained about mostly about the API, and India is definitely world leaders in this, and we can more and more, I think, train during PhD. Basically, we train them during synthesis of different type of methods development.
We remain immensely grateful to Sir for his excellent deliberation.